Welcome to Iraqi Dinar Daily, where we focus on tracking major financial developments and providing structured analysis of Iraq's currency position within the evolving global monetary environment. Today's discussion centers on what many analysts believe could be a defining phase for international finance, as multiple institutional indicators begin aligning in ways that demand closer attention. Across the financial world, a noticeable shift in tone is taking place. Conversations that once centered on long-term projections are now being replaced by near-term operational discussions. Observers are pointing to coordinated movements among major banking institutions as evidence that a large-scale monetary adjustment may be entering its final preparatory stage. This alignment has drawn global interest, particularly as signals appear to be emerging simultaneously rather than in isolation. Reports circulating within specialized financial networks suggest that a highly structured, multi-tiered strategy is already underway. According to these insights, the planning involves senior levels of government oversight as well as top-tier international banking leadership. The objective, as described by these sources, is to complete a major financial transition within a narrowly defined time frame rather than allowing it to stretch indefinitely. What stands out most in current reporting is the sense of urgency. The narrative no longer points to months or years down the road, but instead emphasizes days. In particular, attention has been drawn to HSBC, with emphasis on its Canadian operations. Within financial circles, this branch is frequently identified as a key international coordination hub for specialized currency-related processes. Analysts often view HSBC's readiness status as a leading indicator for broader global activation. According to institutional-level commentary, HSBC's internal posture is closely watched because of its role in managing international fund flows during high-impact transitions. Signals emerging from within this organization are therefore treated as meaningful indicators rather than background noise. At the same time, within the United States, Wells Fargo remains the focal point for domestic execution. It is widely regarded as the primary institution responsible for handling exchange logistics and redemption infrastructure on U.S. soil. Reports suggesting that both HSBC and Wells Fargo are operating within the same projected timeline are being interpreted as a critical sign of alignment. This synchronization between international and domestic banking leadership is not seen as accidental. For many observers, it represents the level of coordination required before any global monetary shift can move forward. When the institutions responsible for cross-border capital movement and local exchange access are in step, it indicates that the technical and administrative groundwork has been completed. Current information points toward the release of formal notifications within a narrow early week window, with particular attention given to Monday and Tuesday. This phase is described as the transition point from internal preparation to external engagement. If accurate, It would mark the moment when participants are officially brought into the process. The operational complexity involved in such an effort cannot be overstated. It includes secure communication systems, restricted access digital platforms, and the coordination of personnel across numerous regions and time zones. Despite this complexity, internal guidance reportedly emphasizes immediate readiness rather than phased delay. What differentiates these reports from past speculation is the level of operational detail. The discussion is no longer centered on whether something might happen, but rather on how specific steps will unfold. This includes sequencing, staffing, security protocols, and participant management. Another key factor influencing the timeline is a firm emphasis on completing the initial stages before December 29th. This date is repeatedly cited as a necessary cutoff point to ensure that liquidity generated by currency movements can be properly recorded within the current fiscal cycle. This requirement is tied to accounting standards, treaty obligations, and institutional reporting frameworks. Completing these actions before year-end allows financial systems to close the books cleanly and begin the next fiscal period without unresolved balances. This technical necessity adds pressure to the schedule and provides a practical explanation for the accelerated pace now being observed. The possibility that global banking leaders could initiate notifications within a 48-hour window is being described as unprecedented. Such a move would reflect years of system development, including the construction of new digital ledger technology, enhanced verification mechanisms, and extensive training of specialized staff. The broader objective, according to these reports, extends beyond currency adjustment alone. The transition is framed as part of a wider effort to modernize the financial system, improve transparency, and move towards structures supported by tangible economic assets rather than purely fiat mechanisms. Additional confirmation comes from secondary sources positioned within administrative and oversight roles. These individuals reportedly echo the same early week timeline, reinforcing the view that planning has reached its final stages. The strategy described involves releasing notifications ahead of the Christmas holiday, allowing participants time to prepare without pressure. This phased approach initial notification, followed by scheduled appointments intended to prevent congestion and maintain system stability during a traditionally busy banking period. Physical exchanges are expected to follow the holiday, once staffing and security arrangements are fully deployed. Releasing alerts early in the week also allows banks to manage interest flow efficiently while finalizing internal logistics. Reports indicate that redemption centers are prepared for extended hours, a level of resource commitment typically reserved for mandated operations of significant scale. Internally, Iraq's readiness is also cited as a contributing factor. The country has reportedly met key international benchmarks, advanced its digital banking capabilities, and stabilized internal markets sufficiently to support external currency recognition. These developments provide a foundation for broader monetary integration. Pressure from international financial authorities is described as intensifying as global markets seek both liquidity and stability. Within institutions, the conversation has shifted decisively from possibility to execution, marking a clear change in tone. HSBC Canada's role is particularly noteworthy due to its involvement in global fund distribution. Historically, movement within this branch is treated as an early confirmation that release mechanisms are nearing authorization. Corresponding preparation at Wells Fargo reportedly mirrors this posture on the domestic side. The repeated reference to the December 29th deadline underscores that hesitation is no longer an option. End-of-year compliance requirements demand that large financial shifts be reflected in closing statements, making action a necessity rather than a choice. For participants, guidance emphasizes staying organized and focused. Notifications are expected to generate strong emotional responses, but the priority remains on practical steps documentation, scheduling, and understanding procedures. Early alerts are considered especially valuable for those seeking time-sensitive exchange options. The anticipated start of notifications represents a shift in how the Iraqi dinar is perceived globally. Long regarded as undervalued, the currency is now being positioned to reflect Iraq's resource base and economic potential. Internally, some banking communications are reportedly using more direct terminology than in the past, signaling increased confidence. The convergence of political progress in Iraq and institutional readiness abroad is seen as a powerful indicator that the process is approaching completion. When policy frameworks and financial infrastructure align, momentum becomes difficult to reverse. As the year draws to a close, technical requirements take precedence. The push toward transparency and asset-supported valuation structures is driven by global demand for long-term stability. Completing the initial phase before the new fiscal year allows markets to move forward with clarity. Throughout the early part of the week, observers are encouraged to monitor secure communication channels carefully. The sources behind this information are described as operational rather than speculative, focused on implementation rather than rumor. When multiple independent signals converge on the same time frame, it suggests that the preparatory phase has ended. Infrastructure readiness, institutional alignment, and internal milestones all point toward activation. This moment is not simply about a numerical adjustment. It represents the culmination of years of reform, coordination, and negotiation. The emphasis on year-end execution provides a clear rationale for the current acceleration. In summary, the alignment between major banking institutions, the early week notification window, and fiscal requirements all indicate that a major financial transition may be imminent. Iraqi Dinar Daily will continue monitoring developments closely and provide updates as confirmed actions emerge. Staying informed, prepared, and grounded remains the best approach as this process moves from preparation to execution.